If your speed to lead is not under a minute, you are much less likely to convert those leads that come in. One of the things I hear a lot from roofers is, I need more leads. The first question I always ask, do you have a nurture sequence set up? To move the needle in your roofing business, get your proposals to your customers faster. And we all know that the more you can let your clients talk and the more that you can keep your mouth shut, the better chance you have to close the deal.
What's up, everybody? I'm Chris Diroll with SMA Support. So if you're a roofing business owner that's considering selling your business someday, there's a lot of things that are going to need to happen. One of the things that we do at SMA Support is we help roofing contractors make the things happen behind the scenes, but sometimes you need a partner that can help you understand what you need to do behind the scenes. And if you're looking to exit your business someday and sell it, this is where Meritage can come in and help. And why we partner with them is because they can act as the strategic coaches to help guide where you need to put your business to do what you want and to get the exits you want. And then when you need the people behind the scenes to help execute those tasks, build that plan and manage those people, we come in to take all that busy work off of your team's plate, allowing your team to be more profitable and get higher revenue per employee, allowing you to scale faster. For me personally, I just want to help other people find the right path that gets them to what they're looking to achieve. And that's why we fit together well, is because we both have that same mindset of we're looking out for people. We're not doing it to just make money. We want to see other people succeed, build that future that you dreamed of, and actually be able to make it happen instead of waiting for a someday moment to take action.
I'm Chris Diroll with SMA Support, and today I'm going to be talking about how, by streamlining the business operations that you run in your roofing business, if you can make them a little bit more efficient, it's going to make your business more valuable. And I'm the Director of Ideas at SMA Support. What we're going to talk about today, how we're going to increase the value of your business, what your clients expect from you, the tech stack that you should be using, and how you can optimize the processes in your business to deliver the customer experience that your ideal customer really wants. So I wanted to start by kind of posing a question. What is efficiency? When we look at efficiency, how do we grow the outputs of our business with fewer inputs, whether that's cost, labor, time, effort? We want to turn the interest into appointments and turn those appointments into signed work. And then that signed work is going to turn into cash. And if we can do this faster than our competition, our business is going to be more valuable than the people you're competing against in your market. And so 3 levers that I think we should all look at when trying to think about how we can operate a business better. We want to look at how we can reduce our customer acquisition costs. And if you're spending less than your competition to acquire those customers, your business will be more valuable to a private equity group that's looking to purchase it, because you have the ability to create demand for your business in a way that is less expensive than your competition. We can also look, how can we boost our revenue and our profit per employee? If you have a team that your employees are doing $200,000 per employee, and you also have another team that is doing $500,000 per employee, if the other metrics are going to be the same, your business is going to be more valuable to somebody that is looking to purchase it from you because of that efficiency. I'm not the right person to talk about this. I'm not the PE guy, but the CAGR, the compound annual growth rate, it's a little bit too much for most roofers. Think of it this way. If you can grow your business consistently, you will do this in a way that when your business is growing, as you grow, if that rate at which you grow is not consistent, this can raise some questions. And so if we can build a foundation that allows us to look long term and figure out what we can do to keep moving the needle forward and not having years where we go from a 100% growth rate and then drop to a 10% growth rate the next year. So why should you listen to me? Well, I've had almost 30 years in the industry in home service. I started out as a paper boy and I grew into a paper man. I delivered over 100,000 newspapers on my bike. And I've been in the home of so many people, seeing what a customer experience looks like from a young age. And I followed the path that everybody tells you to do. Go to school, go to college, get a job. Someday maybe you can retire. And I got involved with some electrical contractors where they were teaching them how to switch from time and material pricing over to flat rate pricing, because what customers want in a purchase when they're working with your business, they don't want uncertainty. And if you can show somebody right at the beginning, here's what it's going to cost, here's what it's going to be, you're buying trust with your homeowners. And I realized that my father-in-law, who was running a roofing business, it seemed very similar to these electrical contractors. And I said, you know what? I'm done with corporate America. I'm going to go into the roofing business. So I joined him, and in 8 years, we grew it from $1 million to just under $5 million. But the key thing here is that we had one outside salesperson. And with one outside rep, we were able to sell 225 roofs a year with a speed and a process that was really designed around me and trying to get time back for myself. But we built it around a client and what they expect on a journey. And it saved me time, but it's also how can I deliver a process of what a client wants from me? And I was an early adopter of a lot of different technologies that you see out on the floor, Roofle, Company Cam, Job Nimbus, ProLine. It's like I've used a lot of them. And I now help a lot of contractors through a consulting business and SMA Support to help implement these in their business. So one of the things people say, those that can't do, teach. And so I like this picture because this is one of the reasons why I left the roofing business. And I think it's great. It's a Ford Mustang that the AI robot made for me, but that engine, the guy's putting the engine in the car. My engine, I was rebuilding an engine that became too powerful for the car that we were able to drive. And I realized that I can help other people put these engines in their cars that have that frame that can carry the horsepower that we can put, and it's not going to break the vehicle. And that's what was happening in our business is the engine that we were putting in is just a little bit too big for the car. And so I started talking to some others in the industry, much, much bigger companies than I was involved with. And what I realized is the process that we had was unique and different than most of the other large businesses that I speak to. I thought about why. Like, what is it that makes our process different, that I'm doing something different than the others and our business is more efficient? It's because we designed a process that it essentially is built by a dad to sell to a mom. So that's my wife. That's my two kids. I thought about when she goes to buy from a business, what does she want? And if we think about what most roofing contractors are giving today, it's not an experience that's based around the customer. It's based around us, the contractor, and what we want and what we feel is the right thing for a process. But we're not looking at, a majority of our customers today are female homeowners. They're female buyers. And what does she want when she goes through that journey to make a purchase? She wants a digital process that helps her save time, gives her clarity, and just gets her back to what she wants to focus on, which is not home improvement projects or listening to a contractor. And there's a book that I love and I recommend. It's called They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan. And I started a journey with that book where it's essentially thinking about what are all the questions she's going to ask you in this journey that you know an answer to that you can give to her, before that journey takes place. And what buyers want today is they want a seller-free experience. Not that they don't, want a salesperson to come talk to them, but they want to be able to gather the information and then decide when it's time for them to make that purchase or make that decision. I'm going to do it when I'm ready. So educate and then let me come and start that process when I want it. Instead of just talking through of like all the things you need to be doing in the business, I figured it's easier if we frame this around a story and put this in the lens of what is Allie? What does she go through when she experiences a roof leak? And how can we design a process that's giving her what she wants? So late night, it's 10 o'clock. She notices a spot on the ceiling. It's like, uh-oh, what are we going to do? Where is she going to go? First thing she's going to do, she's going to go online. She's going to look. She doesn't want to call somebody. She doesn't want to text them, talk to somebody. She just wants to get the process started so the next morning she can start solving this problem. And when she's beginning the journey, the stuff that she would consider what makes this a successful project, a successful experience, she wants transparent pricing. She wants a process that matches what she wants. And then she also needs great communication and no headaches. And so what can we do in our business to start this process the way she wants? Anybody using Nextdoor, Facebook to get leads right now? Is anybody posting, using tools to bring that customer into your ecosystem, start that journey, and using a tool like RoofQuote Pro or Roofle where you can give her a price upfront and answer the number one question that she has, which is roughly, what's this going to cost me? And if you can then take that when she submits that online form, gets an instant roof quote, what can you do to start building some trust as well so that when she fills out that quote, what's the first thing you're going to say to her or show to her that allows you to be different? And so tools like Company Cam. Company Cam is a great example. If you have the Company Cam tool and you're not using the showcase, there's an ability to put pictures about the work that you do, the past jobs you've done, show your 5-star reviews. You should have stuff like a landing page that's going to allow them to see the work that you've done, and also gives them a path so that when they are ready to take action, they know what they're going to get. And when you can set up that initial discovery, when she finds you and you write out the action, it's like, hey, I can give you a quote with nobody in your living room. You're doing exactly what she wants. I wanted to show an example of this, and this is something where when I was in the roofing industry, selling roofs, doing this, I generated tons of leads on Nextdoor and Facebook. And I basically would do this. I would talk to consumers on Nextdoor, people in our neighborhoods, and I would, give them an answer of like what could be going on. Hey, I've got a roof leak. Let me tell you that not only can we fix this, but we're a family roofing business. You can book online. You can talk to our virtual assistant, Miguel. He's in our office. He'll book that. And then also take a look at our past work so that you don't just have to listen to us say that we are good. You can see that we are good. And so I wanted to show this as an example of some things that if your business, if you're not doing something today to go out and look for clients without paying for them, you need to put something in your process, and you probably have tools in your existing stack that you can support to do this. If you start this journey for her and you can give her that price right away and start to help build her trust, she's Buddy the Elf. She's walking into your business this excited. And she's like, this is what I want. I don't want the roofer that's going to come in and talk to me for 2 hours. I want the roofer who's going to give me this information before he shows up, and then I can talk to him when I'm ready. And if we think about how most of us have approached customers, it's always, let me get on site, let me go talk to them. And we're not starting a process the way that she would want to be sold to. And everybody here has bought something on Amazon. Why do you buy it on Amazon, even though you could go to the store right down the street and pick it up? Because it's easier. I'm going to click a button, be done, move on to the next thing. And as much as we love roofing and we think it's great, and we want to talk about all the extended warranties and things of that nature, she doesn't care about it. What she wants is very specific, and it's not at all what we want to be talking about when we're going to talk to her. When we think about the next step of that journey, she's submitted a lead, she's used your instant roof quote tool. When that lead comes in, do you have something in your process today that immediately responds back to her? It doesn't matter the tools you're using, Proline, Job Nimbus, Alivo, they're all great tools that allow your customers to get an instant response, maybe when you're sleeping late at night, and start the process to her saying, here's what's going to happen next. A lot of people today, AI agents is something people are asking about all the time. Thinking about what Allie's going through when that roof leak happens at 10 o'clock at night, she probably doesn't expect that you're going to have a real person on the phone, but she would like to have something that can get the journey started. And so maybe she picks up the phone and the voice robot can talk to her, book the appointment, start the communication journey to get that moving of here's what's going to happen, here's when it's going to happen. And if you can give your customers 24/7 availability to your business, there's a lot of things that can happen. Google is going to promote you a little higher if you're open 24/7. And so your customers see you as a resource that is there all the time, not just there during normal business hours. When we look at like us as a contractor, what does this do for us? Yeah, it's great for Allie because she's getting that communication, but for us, we're saving time by having a lot of that information that we're manually putting into a system. It's now been automated. So we're having fewer opportunities for us to lose deals, to get incorrect data entered into our pipeline. And most importantly, when we're bringing in these deals, now is a time that we can start to look for what are the other opportunities downstream that we can turn into future business, and making sure that you're doing things like, tagging things in your CRM for future opportunities. Hey, they called about a roof, but we looked on Google Street View and we see that maybe that they need some new gutters. So when we're out there, we're going to tag this for our sales rep to go out and bring this up when we're going to talk to the client, just as hey, we've got this, we're here to help if you need it. When we start the process of selling a roof, how many hours does it take? Brett, I see you in the crowd. How many hours does it take you to sell a roof? Okay, so just driving an hour and a half to a roof, that's 3 hours basically of your day there and back, plus the estimate. So let's say 4 hours. Maybe you're in a smaller market, tighter market where you're not driving as much. It's still probably a couple hour process. Does it need to be? I don't think it does. And so let's just, for a moment, suspend your disbelief and just imagine that we could do every appointment in 45 minutes. We're supposed to be talking about how we make your business more valuable here. And this is one of the ways you can do it. If you had every sales appointment in half the time that it's taken you to currently deliver this, you've got a lot more time in that salesperson's schedule to give them more leads and more appointments. So let's imagine if your best performing rep could get an extra appointment every single day, what would additional 5 leads per week going to your best salesperson versus your lowest performing salesperson look like? And if you have a sales team where you need fewer people to run the same amount of leads, you're going to increase that revenue per employee, profit per employee. You're going to be more efficient and you're going to be more valuable to somebody who's looking to acquire you because you're doing more output with less input. If we go and see like how can we pull this time out of their schedule, this is where SMA Support can come in. And so we're a virtual assistant company. Think of us like a roofing crew. You've been subbing your labor out for years. Think about subbing out your office work the same way. And that's what we provide. And what can we do to get your team their time back? Well, we can do all the administrative bullshit behind the scenes. So prepping the quotes, pulling the measurements, scheduling with the homeowner, communicating with the homeowner, all of these things that are really low dollar per hour tasks that you're asking your $100 an hour sales guys to go and waste their time with. So if we can figure out a way to offload some of those tasks, keep them focused on the higher dollar per hour revenue generating activities, and allow somebody else to do the busy work for them, it's great for you, it's great for your team, but most of all, it's great for the customer because that customer is now getting everything that they want faster instead of waiting on a sales guy who's up on a roof talking to another homeowner. It's already moving behind the scenes. And so when your sales guys show up on site, all they have to do is sell. All they got to do is talk to the homeowners. They don't have to spend their time in the truck wasting 20 minutes, put an estimate together. One of the ways that we can cut down our sales process time is pre-record your sales story. Everybody has a camera. It's in your pocket. It's on your phone. What do you tell that homeowner when you go into their house every time, over and over and over? These are things that you need to pre-record and give to your clients in video form so that they can consume it before you get there. Some people want to hear what you say, some people won't. But if you give them that chance to digest the information, it'll save you a lot of time when you show up for the appointment because they're going to come loaded with questions of here's what I want to talk about. Let's get into what I want to talk about instead of going into what you want to talk about as a roofer, and will speed up that overall time that it's going to take. So some people out there think it would be crazy to send a price to a homeowner before you showed up for a site visit. But the reality is we all know what could happen on these jobs, that if we send them a quote based on satellite measurements, there's maybe a few things that might come up, but we know what that's going to be. Maybe it's a couple extra layers of shingles. Maybe it's bad decking, but the overall price of this roof is going to be about the same. And this is talking more of a retail mindset, but get this to your homeowner quickly. If you can take the time that your sales team was spending on their own to build these estimates, to prep these quotes, and get this all done for them, you're saving them time, allowing Allie to experience a shorter appointment. She's not getting the pressure from you because she can digest this before you show up. But what's important is if you go the route of trying to send these quotes ahead of time or having somebody do this and you're sending out a quote that's black and white text, there's not a lot of value add to a consumer when they look at your quote and it looks the same as everybody else's. If you're going to do this and you say, Chris, how could I sell to a homeowner before I show up and let them see that? This is where having a brand that people can understand is so important. And if you think about what your quotes look like, if they don't look something like this, it's going to be hard for you to continue competing against the other people in your market that are doing something to differentiate themselves. Every roofer, it's always the same. It's like, well, we're different. We do it different. It's like, you do it different. You install it different than the instructions on the shingle package? No, you don't. So when it comes down to our business of what we do, all of us, we're in the people business. We're not in the roofing business. So what these customers want to see when they're working with you is the people that they're going to work with in this business. When you can show them the journey they're going to go on, the people they're going to work with, the process they're going to go through, the options that you can give them, and then the proof comparing you to others, this is a way that you can show them you are different. When we think about the buying journey that customer is going to go through, if we have all of this presented to her and we go to show up, she's going to start the conversation with exactly what she wants to talk about, not with what you want to talk about. And we all know that the more you can let your clients talk and the more that you can keep your mouth shut, the better chance you have to close the deal. when we think about selling, back to the Marcus Sheridan, and we're thinking about how do we give a sales-free selling experience, it's about letting the customers decide. And so we want to show them why we're the right option in this process versus the other roofers. When we are talking about our business and the great work that we do, it's great to tell them that we do a good job, but it's more important to be able to show them. And so using a tool like Company Cam, when you're going out on site and you're able to take proof of what you've done and explain it to her in pictures instead of words, it helps her see you are the right decision. You're the person that can solve a problem because you've solved it for others in the past, and you're showing me photos and proof of this. If you give her the options that are easy to understand, and we look at, good, better, best quotes, when that customer is going through the buying journey, and we look at a good, better, best, there's not a lot that most customers really care about when it comes down to the specifics of the materials that we're going to sell them. But what they do care about, is usually the same things: warranties for the labor, warranties for the material, and what's the color going to be. If we can give her the options of here's what the different choices are and why you might pick each, I'm not going to push you to pick one. I'm going to let you decide which is the right choice for you. And sometimes there's people out there still that are not giving a good, better, best option, and you're leaving money on the table by not giving them a chance to spend more money and get a more profitable project because you're not giving them an option to get you're not giving an option to get a better product, a better package, because you're not even giving them the chance to know that you have it. When we're going out on site and thinking about how we might be able to add more value to the business downstream, I'm here today to talk to you about a roof, but what else can I do to help you? And so where can we bring in tools to the business like Hover, where you're having a conversation about a roof, but now you can also talk about what else can we do in the future to help you? I see that you need new siding. I see that you need new paint. Let me help you visualize this while you're doing a new roof, and then you can call me back in a few years to get that next part of the project taken care of. And so for the customer, she feels like she has control. She sees the proof and she has choices, and it's delivering to her in a way that doesn't feel like a lot of pressure. And to you, the contractor, if we can build a process where we're giving her the control, but we're able to get all of that information we're trying to send to her and show to her ahead of a site visit, we can do faster appointments with the same amount of people. And so, again, we'll increase the amount of revenue and profit per employee in our business because we can do it quicker and more efficiently than the others in our market. And we talk about how do we lower our cost of acquisition for getting new clients. If we're building a pipeline and starting our sales journey when we're calling us for the roof and planting the seeds of the future work that we can do, this is our way to get future customers without having to add additional marketing spend. Thinking about your process, is there something in your process today that you think you might have an opportunity to add where you're telling people how you could help them in the future and giving them an opportunity to want to call you back? And if we're not doing this now, they're going to forget about us, and the next person that knocks on their door, calls them and checks in on them, see if they need some work, that's who they're going to go with because you weren't following back up with them and planning for that future. When we get through the entire project and we think about what the homeowners are wanting on the day of the job to get a world-class experience that's going to give us a 5-star review and referrals at the end, we want to look through what can we do to prevent all the headaches. Keep the things that cause us the negative reviews, the bad experiences with homeowners, keep those from occurring. And so when we're getting ready to start our projects, if we can do something to tell the homeowners, hey, when we get there that day of, we're using Company Cam, we're going to document this, you can see the pictures of the work that we're doing as we're doing it live on the roof. Here's that trust. If something goes wrong, you can see the same stuff that we're seeing, and I'm going to show you at the end of the job all that wood that was bad. Hey, we're going to document it. You'll have a live look into it as we go. And if you can have your CRM or maybe an assistant or an inside salesperson on your team being the one to share this with them before the job starts, it's going to give them, again, that trust that they want from your business to know that, hey, we picked the right people because everyone expects Chuck in the truck to show up. And what we want to deliver is a Chuck in a truck that is the modern Chuck, that is not the 2-hour sales quote. When we get into the install day, what do our customers want on the day of the install? Sometimes you get the guys in the lawn chair that want to sit out and watch you all day long. If we could give them a Company Cam link and show them a live gallery, maybe we can get customers that will not need to go out and keep an eye on our crew all day watching us from the ground. They can just sit on the couch and you let them know, hey, we're going to update you We'll check in. We've got a text line. You can talk to our team if you need anything. We're here if you need us. And when we look through the day of the job, when we're trying to prevent the problems from happening, if we can catch these things and let them know once we're finished, here's how we're going to resolve them, making sure that they feel satisfied. They're not going to hold our money at the end of the job because they're waiting for some punch list items, because we captured all that in our install day with our checklist and company cam. We can make sure we're going to get paid faster at the end, because what holds up our money at the end of these jobs, a lot of times it's somebody saying, hey, well, I'm not happy with this, I'm not happy with that. So if we can eliminate the opportunities for a customer to tell you they're not happy and try and hold some money back, we're going to get paid faster, close out these jobs quicker, and give them an experience that just lets it be a little bit more hassle-free. And the most important thing of what people want is they just want to stay in the loop. They just want to feel communicated with along this journey and know that, hey, if something does happen, you're there for us. And so for the customer, if she is not looking for you to get an update, to give her information, and you're always, one step ahead of her, telling her what's coming next, you're, again, building so much more trust so that when she gets through the end of the job, you're the only roofer she's ever going to think about telling her friends about. If we deliver experience the day of the job that allows that customer to trust us, to believe that we're doing what we say we're going to do, we end the job with a happy client that is going to lead us to future business, whether it's from her or from other people that she knows, because she's going to go talk about you and how happy she was. This is going to lower your cost of acquisition to get new clients. When you have happier clients, you get more referrals. When you get more referrals, you lower your cost per lead because you're not paying for them. So when we look at talking about scaling a business, the ability to scale a business, really, when we think about scaling a business, the day of the job is sometimes the hardest thing to scale, because you may have a process set up, but it's not well documented, not well defined. And so if we can deliver an experience that we've defined at one branch, we have a process, we have checklists, here's what we do along every step to make sure this job runs smoothly, we can then scale easier, because now we're just moving a process to a new market, to a new branch, instead of reinventing the wheel all from the ground up. One of the things I hear a lot from roofers is, I need more leads. The first question I always ask when they say, I need more leads, is, do you have a nurture sequence set up? If we think about the leads that come into our business, it's kind of like an iceberg. We start at the top. You see that ice. I have a roof, it's leaking now. Okay, that person you probably don't need to nurture too much, because they know they need to do it. You've got the customers that'll call you and say, hey, I'm just being proactive. It's time for a new roof. I want to do it before we have a problem. Let's get things rolling. Great. Those are the ones above the water. Those are the people where you're going to know, hey, that's where the ice is. But all the ice that's below the water, this is where the value is. If you don't have a process to go back and follow up with these other three types of customers, hey, I called you because somebody knocked on my roof and they said I needed a roof. You didn't need a roof. Well, that person that knocked on the roof and told them they need a roof probably isn't following up with them. But if you have a nurture sequence set up, an automated message that comes out of your CRM, or maybe it's manual, you have an assistant that's going to manually send these messages, follow up, stay top of mind, so that, a year down the road, they're going to remember that, hey, these guys were here and they're still following up with me for when I'm ready. Same thing for the next one below. It's like, I bought it. It needs an inspection. Don't know how old the roof is. It's old, but you go out there, you take a look, turns out it's not that old. Well, maybe 5 years from now, it'll be old enough and it needs replaced. So what are you going to do to make sure 5 years from now that customer still remembers who you are? Nurture. Last one, saw your roof quote tool on Nextdoor. Just wanted to click it. Thought it was cool. Wanted to see what my roof might cost. I don't need a roof at all. But guess what? That homeowner, when they clicked that and they filled out the instant roof quote, guess what? They moved 7 years later. They're in a new house. What are you doing to re-engage that person that once saw the value that your business brings, and show them that you still are here to support them if they need your help? Again, it's all back to having a nurture sequence where you're not letting the old leads in your system sit and go stale. And if we stop focusing on a new lead and focus on the pile of leads that we already have in our CRM, this is where the money lies. So if you say, I need more leads, what I'm going to say is you need a nurture sequence more than you need new leads. And when we talk about a nurture sequence, staying on top of mind, the biggest reason we're going to nurture these customers, the ones that have not done business with us, okay, that's apparent. We're going to go after them. But the people that have done business with us, How are we going back after them once that job is done to grow the value of that customer to our business? Rehash opportunities. What are the things that you identify on a site visit? We go out to do a roof. Guess what? Your siding does not look like that. This is the siding you could have. If you're not marking these things in your CRM to tag them for future follow-ups and go after that business later, you're missing an opportunity to add value to your business with the leads and the customers you already have. We also want to make sure when we go out, we're not leaving things on the table that we could do, we could sell, we could help them with, because we're not telling them about it. And back to those quote pages, if you have built-in upsells in these pages, think of the problems you can solve for the homeowner. It's like, we do roofing, but if you have old peeling paint on your siding, you're thinking about this, how can we position this early on in the journey so that downstream, they're there thinking about the other work that when we re-engage, talk to them about the siding a year after that new roof, they're there saying, hey, I remember you brought it up, we've been saving, now I'm ready to think about this next project. For anybody out here, anybody doing any sort of roof repair, maintenance, this is a great way. If you don't have a maintenance division set up and are offering things like a roof tune-up package, these are really low-cost ways for your customers to get into your funnel, spend a little bit of time with them, charge them $300, but be the guy that's always there checking in on their roof. If you had a program like this set up, even if you're not making a lot on that roof care plan, you're giving yourself an opportunity to go back and visit these homes on an annual basis and find more work for your team to fix for the homeowners. Again, thinking through the lens of Allie, the customer, and what she wants some follow-ups, but she doesn't want to be spammed. And so when we think about how do we engage with her after that sale to show her, hey, here's some cool things that we've done, here's some nice new siding that would look great with your shingles. Building a nurture sequence, pulling in some tools, and showing the results of the past work you've done, the things you've helped others with, and letting her see an opportunity for how you could also help her solve that same problem that she's facing. It's helpful to her, but to us as the contractor, the real value is, again, it's all about driving our future pipeline and cost of leads and acquiring customers down. Because if we have a list of people that we've already worked with that love us, they're looking for a way that we can work with them again, it's saving us money versus acquiring leads and new customers from other sources that we have to pay way more money for. So it increases our profitability. And when we look at how do we scale, how do we grow, how do we become more valuable, figuring out ways to get 1%, 2%, 3% of that business that you weren't going after, these are the things that when you go to open that new branch and you need more leads and are building this book of business, you've got the system in place for every one of those leads that comes in will be marketed to for the next 5, 10 years and continuing to allow you to grow without investing a significant amount in paid advertising. The roofing world, I always think of it, it's like hunting and farming, especially for the storm world. The storm world is full of hunters. The problem with this, we need farmers. And when we think about our leads and building a customer base for our business, if we can look for opportunities where we can farm and plant that seed to come back and help them in the future, we'll plant that seed, water the garden, and wait for it to sprout. This is where we need to be thinking of, when I get done with a job, how do I plant seeds for them to think about me again in the future? So the number one way to do it, make sure you're getting a lot of reviews and a lot of referrals. And the way that you're going to do that is when you end this job, making sure that nurture sequence you have set up, it's going to be sending out a text, a review request, asking for neighborhood referrals. Do you know somebody else that we might be able to solve a problem for? If you don't ask, they're not going to tell you. And when we look about going through that journey, we have a happy customer. She's really excited. She got a new roof. She got new siding. She wants to show this and share it and show off to the people that she knows, because she's proud of this project. And when you wrap that job up and your team is going to send you a link to, here's your completed project, here's our company cam link, the before, the during, the after, letting you see what we just did for you on your home, feel free to share this to your friends. Post this link with these pictures, post it to our Google profile, let other people see the work that we did. You're planting seeds, letting them plant those seeds for you to help you get additional business down the road from other people just like them looking for your services. And when we end these projects, a lot of us stop, we say, hey, thanks, it's great, we got paid. Are we doing something else to really say thank you to them? And this is where things like using a dope marketing cookie box, when you get done with that job, sending them a cookie at the end of the job saying, hey, thank you, we appreciate it, here's something sweet, do something sweet for us. Can you tell us a friend or a family member that we might be able to help solve a problem? Putting that seed in their mind so that someday down the road when they hear somebody say, hey, I need a roofer, do you know someone? They're like, oh yeah, because they remember those cookies you sent after doing such a great job, and then you said thank you to them. That's the things that buys you future business. And I can tell stories of, I had past clients where we were doing this and we sent them a cookie box, and it was like, you see them in the store a year later and they say to you, man, I love those cookies. That was awesome. Everything was great, but where'd you get those cookies? You're giving that person a reason to want to talk to you and continue building a relationship so that when they know somebody else who could have you solve a problem, you're the one that they think of. So building a system that allows you to get more word of mouth out in the community about your business, it's a system, and making sure that there are steps along each step of the process, at the end of the job, the middle of the job, the beginning of the job, so that you're thinking about the future seeds that you're planting and where they're going to grow, and it all is built around a system. So what are the KPIs you should be monitoring in your business if you want to move the needle? These are the three. The first KPI that you need to increase the value of your roofing business, speed to lead. If your speed to lead is not under a minute, you are much less likely to convert those leads that come in. The stats are kind of all over the place. There's different stats out there, but the ones I see a lot of times, it's around five times more likely if you get back to your customer in less than a minute than if you wait a day. All the technologies we have out there, you should have an auto reply where they're getting a text, an email, but you also should ideally have a human follow-up. And a lot of us, when we run out of time in the day, we're not making these phone calls to all these leads. Sometimes we're letting them go. Maybe we sent the text, but we didn't send them a phone call. These are our opportunities to catch that low-hanging fruit, grab another couple points, because our competition is not going to put in the effort to follow up with them, to have a human phone call, and they're going to just rely on that automated message. So set yourself apart. Don't just automate a message. Also get a human in there to follow up with them. The second thing you can do to move the needle in your roofing business, get your proposals to your customers faster. Ideally, you're sending it to them before you leave that site, but if you can make sure that this proposal is sent in less than 4 hours, you are going to have a higher likelihood of that customer closing your business, because they're looking for Amazon, not an abacus. They don't want a process that takes days to get back to them. They want a process that takes minutes or seconds. And then the last thing you should do, if you do not have a rehash program in place today, you're leaving money on the table. You can get 2 to 5%, maybe a little more, if you have a structured rehash program in place to go after those maybe later opportunities and find the person that said, I'm not ready yet, call me later. Most of your competition is not following up down the road. And so if you have leads that, you did estimates for a year ago, 2 years ago, call them back, follow back up with them, because maybe they weren't ready yet, but now they are. And if you have 1,000 customers that you've spoken to and you've never reached out to them, and you could get 2 to 5% of those to convert into a job, do the math. What will that do for us if we can get 5% of those 1,000 customers to sign a contract, get a new roof installed, versus getting that same amount of customers from another source like paid ads or inbound leads that are costing us? We're leaving money on the table by not going after the people that have already came into our pipeline. If you're facing struggles in the roofing business and you're saying, hey, I'd love to sell someday, but I'm not ready yet, the first place you can start, talk to the team at Meritage, talk to the Meritage partners, talk to Brian, talk to Daniel. They are there to help you think through what is the long-term planning and structure that I need to do to make this business something that is ready to sell someday. They are the ones to talk to for that. When you say, Chris, this all sounds great, but it also sounds like a lot of work. There's a lot of technologies, there's a lot of tools, there's a lot of things you're gonna have to touch. Who's gonna be the one to help me with this? That's where SMA Support comes in. We're a roofing admin team, the office in a box. Think of it like that, where we're the ones that can let your team focus on the important stuff, take the time back so that they are focused on the important things, and then your admin team is only working on the low-dollar tasks that they should be focused on. And if I can give you all one immediate action this week, start with one thing. There's probably one thing that I talked through today that maybe gave you a light bulb moment. And if you can go home and pick one thing, look for one thing you can do, a 1% gain. If you can pick one action every week and make a 1% gain, what does your business look like a year later with small investments that are just moving the needle bit by bit? That's all I got for you today. I appreciate the massive turnout. I think this is probably the biggest one that we've had at Win the Storm, so thank you all. If you'd like to book some time, QR code is right there. Also, if you're looking at your business and how it could be more efficient, we have an evaluation form. Scan this, check it out. We'll walk you through where's the opportunity in your business today that you could be saving money and repurposing your team to allow you guys to execute more profitable business. Start there. So, Chris Diroll with SMA Support. That's all I got. I appreciate all you. Thanks for your time.